beautiful Leslie and me, obviously. We wanted to talk to you about something a little bit more serious today. There's quite a big fuss in the UK, and quite rightly so, about Sarah Everard, who was it's a whole tragic case, you know, how she was abducted and murdered. But women forever and a day have been saying, oh, I have the right to walk the streets in a short mini skirt and I shouldn't be scared or feel vulnerable. And you get people on both sides, men say, or people saying, you shouldn't dress provocatively, and I can hear all the feminists out there screaming at me, and people saying you should be careful. Well, it's a bit of, unfortunately, human nature is such that men, and it is men, from time immemorial, have attacked, raped, subjugated women, and because they are of superior strength. And it's generally, as well, statistically, it's men who are more perverse in a sexual way, where they would want to dominate, and they derive satisfaction from dominating a woman in a sexual way. It's a very difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course we all know that it's that's absolutely not right.
Absolutely.
And should not be right. For those of you that watch Hollyoaks, might not be many of you, but I do, they've covered this story very, very well recently. There was a young girl who went out on the town with her girlfriends, ended up losing her friends and losing her phone. So tries to make her own way home. She's had a little bit to drink. She's in a short skirt, high heels. And they show you her trying to get her way home, and how frightened she feels, you know, getting on a bus on her own, and the missed opportunities of sharing a taxi with some other girls and getting her home safe. So it's a catalogue of errors that she makes throughout that evening of leaving her friends on her own. So first of all, she didn't charge her phone up before she went out. She lost her phone then. She then left her friends and went on her own. So
is this because she'd had a drink?
She'd had a drink and she wasn't thinking straight, and so made a few catalogue of errors on her way home. And then she almost got home, and she was attacked by a man when she got home. So she went straight to the police station. Obviously this is on Hollyoaks, not for real. And it was a really, really good, poignant moment, and was done so well, where she said to the police officer, I shouldn't have had my hair like this. I shouldn't have had my skirt so short. I shouldn't have had my heels so high. And the policewoman said to her, wouldn't have mattered what you were wearing.
No.
If you'd have had jeans on, your hair a different way. If you'd have had trainers on, if a man has gone out that evening,
an opportunist.
Wouldn't have mattered what you were wearing. So something happened to me, and I'm quite happy to talk about it, because I think it should be spoken about. Here in Villamora in June, I left a bar on my own, early hours of the morning, about 2 a.m. It was a very, very hot June night. Now, I never walk home on my own. I don't. Me and my friends, we always share an Uber, never walk home. But it was a very hot night. I've been in a bar, I've been dancing, I was hot, and I thought, do you know what? It's less than a 10-minute walk back to my apartment. I will walk, and I will take a shortcut on my own.
Leslie.
So I had my flip-flops in my handbag, but on me I had some very sturdy heels on, but they were very sturdy and they were strapped to my feet quite well. They weren't thin stilettos. And off I went on my own, and I walked through this shortcut, even though it was very built up. It wasn't an alleyway, dark alleyway, it was quite built up. But it was 2 o'clock in the morning, still very busy everywhere. Nothing closes until 3 in the morning, so there were still lots of people around. And I was walking towards a bench, to sit on a bench, to put my flip-flops on so that I could walk the next 5 minutes without my heels on. Before I had chance to sit down, 2 guys jumped me from behind and dragged me off behind a car. I was wearing a longish dress, and they tried to get my dress off. They were pulling at my dress to get my dress off, and I thought, they're clearly not wanting my handbag, because most muggings that happen wherever you might be are for your phone or for money. You don't necessarily think you're going to be attacked for you, do you? You think they want something. So I instantly knew they wanted me, not my belongings. So they weren't having me, obviously, because I'm a bit older and a bit wiser. And luckily for me, because I had my sturdy heels on. Now I know for a fact, if I'd have had a chance to put my flip-flops on,
you'd have been.
I'd have stood no chance. But I was the same height as one of the men that was attacking me. So one had ran off because I think he realised I was fighting, and I did fight back. And so the other one was left with me on my own, and so he's got his hand over my mouth. He's trying to stop me from shouting. He's trying to get my dress off. I'm kicking him. He's punching me. I'm kicking him. So we had this fight. He then drags me off behind a tree. So I'm behind a car. Then I'm behind a tree. And luckily, your instincts kick in, and I was able to fight back. He didn't want my handbag. In fact, I think at one point I went, just have that. Just have my handbag.
He didn't want that.
Have my bag. He didn't want my handbag. He wanted me. So obviously very, very shaken. And I think because I was making so much noise and fighting back so well and kicking him, in the end, he realised he wasn't. But I think what disturbed him was because it was a very hot evening, some windows were open of a lot of the apartments, and I think a light went on.
Someone heard you, thank God.
I think somebody heard me. Yes, thankfully. So the police were very good. You know, I was bruised. I had a bruise on my leg where he was kicking my leg, trying to get me down on the floor. For a long time, actually, about 4 months, I had this big bruise on the back of my leg. And the police were fantastic, I have to say, really, really good. I gave him a good description because he was right in front of me, and I looked into his eyes. So I had a good description of him. They never caught him. But they said to me, their words were, you should be able to walk home on your own and not feel vulnerable.
Of course you should.
But reality is something
reality
completely
is different,
isn't it?
Reality is different because it's a basic human instinct that some men, a very small proportion of men have. They want to do this. They want to overpower and dominate and subjugate a woman. And of course it's not every man. It's a tiny
and chances.
You
know, I don't expect for 1 minute those two guys went out with that intention. I mean, I don't know.
I always used to say to my girls whenever they were out, obviously I don't want them to ring me at 3 o'clock in the morning, but you know, of course they can, and they have done in the past. But the idea is never be on your own. Just never be on your own late at night. I've got 4 daughters, so them going out to nightclubs, bars, whatever, and wanting to have a great time. Of course they've got to do this stuff, but I just sort of bashed into them.
Please don't
never
go
do it
home
on your own.
And I do think there's been a lot in the press lately about this, hasn't there? But as girls, we shouldn't have to change what we do. This should be something, going back to education really, with young boys at an early age, to be told that this is not okay.
But our boys don't do this.
No, they don't.
Our boys don't. I don't know anyone who.
No, I don't know
of
any.
Course.
No.
So I'm not even sure that it is education. I don't know if it's that or if it's just something within someone that makes them feel, that this is an okay thing to do. It seems like it's some sort of psychopath. It's a psychopathic trait, isn't it?
Yes, and I suppose fueled with alcohol and drugs makes things worse, doesn't it, for these guys, and then the girls that are going out having a good time, which you should be able to do, girls. When they leave these nightclubs or bars and they're on their own, they've had a few to drink, you're not thinking straight, so you think you're going to be okay.
I think you're invincible when you're young, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
So
yeah.
please be careful.
And of course now, they used to have the whole date rape retinol
Yeah.
in your drink.
That happened to one of mine once, my daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to a very good friend of ours here,
Mm.
not that long ago. And now they're injecting, aren't they? Now that the men are sticking in needles in girls now while they're in like clubs and bars, which is giving the same effect. So stop it, boys.
It's,
Right?
it's just terrible, isn't it?
If you know, like I just wonder what kind of men and boys think that this is okay. They clearly can't get a woman of their own merit just being them.
I don't think it's
Don't
even
think it's
that. No, I
Just
don't
control.
think it's that.
Control.
I think it's the sexually driven
Predators.
It's someone gets off on the control and the domination of a woman.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's this subversive,
Yeah.
and it is perverted, definite desire to try and control someone that way.
Yeah.
And it isn't natural and it isn't like normal, but to them it is. It's
Yeah.
like
And
the paedophile thinks he's normal.
No, fine, you're right. And fortunately, it's the minority, isn't it? So
It's the tiny, tiny,
it
tiny
is.
slither
And let's
of
hope
society.
that
So
most
be
ladies
careful.
go out and have a good time and don't worry
Get
about
your
it.
Uber app on your
Yes.
phone and just
Don't
never be on
walk
your
and
own.